Can you win a fight that you refuse to acknowledge that you're in? Can you defeat an enemy that you didn't even know existed? You can, and we're going to talk about that. Greetings, my fearless frontliners, my fellow guardians of the galleries. I'm William Young, and this is my podcast.
You are now listening to the Just Corrections podcast with your host, William Young.
Can we just get this show on the road?
If you're new here, welcome. If you're a current, aspired, retiring, or soon to be retired correctional professional, and you're looking for content that educates, informs, engages, all of that, then you're at the right place. You've stopped, you've landed on the right channel. If you're looking for a sob story, an anti-administration call to action, pitchfork and torch type of thing, well, this is not going to be that. All right, so let's dive into it. I got a post. I got a notification from LinkedIn. And if you don't follow me on LinkedIn, I'm William Young, Just Corrections on LinkedIn. Jump on LinkedIn. It's like Facebook for BDAs. And I got a notification that somebody tagged me in a post. I want to read that post to you, and then I want to break it down, talk about it just a little bit. So bear with me. And this is from Jason. And Jason says, he posts this beautiful picture of this beach and the sunset and all this. And Jason says, while I am 1,000 miles away from home and nowhere near my chosen profession, Jason is a correctional officer, I find myself suffering from some of the unintended consequences of the correctional curriculum, as William Young, that's me, writes about. As I walk around Costa Rica, he's in Costa Rica, I find myself scanning for threats, watching people and looking for weapons of opportunity. I guess after so many years in the profession, I can never leave the walls, but rather learn to live with and embrace the skills that I have learned. Those skills are not a plague, but a blessing in disguise. As I travel with my best friend and son, my skills may be what protects us from harm, and that's a good thing. That in itself is one less detail I have to worry about. And then he goes on to say this place is wild. There's bugs, there's monkeys jumping on the roof, exciting, intimidating. It took him years of working to death to stop and smell the roses. Now he ticked off something on his bucket list. And I just want to talk about the beauty of Jason's post. Of his ability to recognize, to realize that there are side effects to working in the correctional profession. I'm going to read you my response, my retort, and we're going to talk about this. I'm not sure if people understand the beauty of Jason's post, the importance of acknowledging the impact of the correctional career or any area or experience in our life that causes us stress. I don't know if you guys understand the importance of recognizing the impact that has on us or our families. And by recognizing the changes, and this is what Jason does, by embracing it, right? Reframing it, then you tip the scales. You shift the balance of power. You convert the energy of your experience and the weight of wearing the badge into fuel that you can use to live the life that you want to live. So this is what I talk about, and this is the mission, right? This is the obstacle. That when I go out and I speak to officers, when I go out and I speak to correctional staff, this is the main obstacle. They don't understand how the environment, right, the things that we see, say, hear, and have to do, the training that we've been indoctrinated in, the lifestyle that we've been pushed into, people don't understand the impact that has on our lives. And it's not all bad and it's not all good. The main thing that you have to do if you can win a fight is acknowledge that you're in one. We can't understand that we've changed. We can't acknowledge that we changed because we weren't told that we were going to change. And Jason says, hey, I've changed. I know that I changed. And I'm going to take some of that change and I'm going to use it for good. I'm going to use it to keep my family safe. So by recognizing the change, embracing it, reframing it, he can tip the scales. And let me show you how he did that. He tipped the scales because he understands where the anxiety comes from, where the emotion comes from, where the anger comes from, where this situational awareness, hypervigilance comes from, right? And he takes that and he uses that. He embraces it. He says, now this is my superpower. This is what I'm going to use to keep me and my son safe while we're on vacation, right? And I came across this awesome quote. I'm reading a diary from Saint Faustina Kowalska, and she writes in her diary, the knowledge of my own misery allows me at the same time to know the immensity of your mercy. And I love that. There's another quote in that diary that talks about one eye staring into the abyss of my own misery and the other eye staring into the abyss of your mercy. And I think that's so good, because what this says, right, is that to know the good, okay, to live in the light, you have to first acknowledge the dark and what it's done and what it can do to you, which is what Jason is doing here, which is what that passage from St. Faustina wants you to do, which is what I try to get people to do when I go out and I speak and I talk and I put on videos and I do these things. We're up against some pretty dark stuff. We deal in some pretty dark environments, and it's hard to maintain your positive outlook, your humanity in the face of such adversity. How do I know that? Well, because I went down that road. Because for 20 years, I've been submerged in this environment. And I know that unless you acknowledge that the environment, the craziness that we deal with, that we see on a daily basis, the things that you and I just call part of the job, unless you can admit that those things have an impact on you, right? We don't have to say good or bad right now. I don't need you to acknowledge that they're bad, that they've changed you in a negative manner. I know you're not ready to do that. All I need you to do is admit that they've changed you, that some of the things that you've seen, some of the emergencies that you've responded to have changed you, okay? The darkness. You have to first acknowledge the darkness and what it can do and what it might have done to you, right? Once you acknowledge the darkness, you can then turn and experience the light. You can reframe it. You can embrace it. You can reframe it. You can take back the power. And I write here, you can convert the energy of your experience and the weight of wearing the badge into fuel that you can use to live the life that you want. How many of you, let me ask you a question. How many of you sitting there listening to this like to go out in public, like to deal with people? How many of you in the correctional profession want to go to Walmart on Saturday, want to go shopping the day after Thanksgiving? We learn to hate people, crowds of people. And it's not because of the people. It's because we've been trained to do what he says here. Let's go back to this. He says, I'm 1,000 miles away, right? And I find myself scanning for threats, watching people looking for weapons of opportunity, because that's what he was trained to do. And in fact, he was trained to do that, right? Everything's a weapon. Look at this pencil here. Everything's a weapon. Everybody's a threat. And at any moment, violence can erupt. And then you say, this environment hasn't changed me. This job hasn't changed me. Malarkey. Bullshit, right? And until you can acknowledge that, you can't embrace it. Right? And you can't defeat an enemy that you don't know that you're up against. But if you know your enemy, if you know that it's the environment, if you know that working in this profession changes you, affects the way that you live your life outside of uniform, then you can adjust accordingly. Then you can intentionally try to offset that by doing other things, by going to vacation, by going to Costa Rica, by hanging out with your family, by volunteering, by working on yourself spiritually, whatever you're going to do. The point is you have to do something, and that's why I love the beauty of this post, because Jason's right. The skills are not a plague. The skills that they teach you to survive inside are not a plague. They're not a curse. If used as prescribed, they can be a blessing. They can protect us, and that's a good thing. But if we don't pay attention to the warning, if we don't understand that without intentionality, this job will not only affect us, but our family, then we're in a world of hurt. There won't be vacations. There won't be posts. There won't be trips to the grocery store because we'll self-isolate. We'll do all the things that I write about in my book, because step one is acknowledging that something that you've seen, lived through, experienced may stick with you, may have caused you some sleepless nights, may have changed the way that you live your life outside of a uniform, and that's okay, because that's all of us. That is absolutely all of us. There is not one person that has come into contact with the correctional environment that hasn't been changed in some way, shape, or form. Promise you. So let me give you a call to action before I wrap this video up, because I know that you don't want to lecture today, but maybe that's what it turned into, and maybe that's not what you wanted to hear, but what you needed to hear. And if you're sitting there and something is stirring and you're thinking, well, maybe this idiot's right, maybe this idiot's not right, then go talk to somebody. Go talk to a coworker. Talk to your spouse. Hey, am I different than I was 25 years ago, 10 years ago when I started this profession? Go look in the mirror. Be honest with yourself. Am I different? Do I behave differently outside, out of uniform? The answer is going to be yes. Now, that's on to what degree, that's up to you. But I'm telling you, the answer is going to be yes. And if you feel like things aren't going the way that you want them to go, then go talk to somebody. Go figure it out. Go work it out, because you don't want to wait. Listen, what does he say here? It took me years of working to death to stop and smell the roses, and now I've made a few check marks on my bucket list. Too bad it took so long. Folks, you deserve happiness for the work that you do, for the job that you do, for the things that you put up in the name of keeping society safe. You deserve sunsets and beautiful vacations and serenity and sanity. You deserve it. But all of that will elude you if you do not acknowledge that maybe some of the source of your stress may come from your service. So I'm asking you today, if maybe that feels like you a little bit, if you're unsure, if maybe you feel like maybe there's some things that you need to work out, then reach out. Reach out. Deal with your employee assistance program. Find a local therapist in your area. Reach out. Talk to somebody. What's the worst that can happen? Nothing. You go meet, you sit down with the person, you realize, hey, I'm totally okay. I don't need to deal with this shit. It's totally okay. But what if? What if it helps? What if it helps and the weight that you've been dragging along with you for years is lifted? Relationships repaired. You can now walk amongst the living. What if? What do you got to lose? Do you love your family? Of course you do. Would you kill for your family? Of course you would. Would you go talk to a therapist for your family? I don't know. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me today, for listening, for watching this episode of the podcast. New episodes available daily, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. Set a reminder on your phone, your calendar, so you never miss an episode. Make sure you subscribe to the show, follow the show on YouTube or whatever podcast platform you are consuming. Follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, X. Leave a comment. Get involved. Get engaged. Share the show with your friends, your family, fellow correctional professionals, everybody. The Just Corrections podcast. Look, if you're interested in supporting the show, please consider becoming a member of the Patreon community, the JCP. There are a couple of different tiers, different options. I'll put a link to all of that in the description in the show notes. And don't forget to check out the books, The Nothing That Never Happened and Train to Change, The Unfortunate and Unintentional Consequences of the Correctional Curriculum, all available on Amazon. And if you'd like to bring me out to speak or present at your event, send me an email at justcorrections.booking@gmail.com. All right, guys, that's all I got. Until next time, be smart, stay safe, stay sane, and we'll talk soon.